game in the first period? Just wondering.
Yeah, his back tightened up a little on him in the first period, and we shut him down immediately with the flight coming up and all the travel and everything. It made no sense to keep pushing him through it, so he was done. He should be okay.
Todd, how would you assess the play of your second line through this the Draisaitl line through this preseason?
Draisaitl's line through preseason, I think mixed reviews. They've been really good, and then they've been a little bit careless at times with pucks, creating opportunities for the other team, and they know it. They'll be better. It's something we have to fix team-wide. What I've noticed with our group as a whole, now I'm going past Leon's line, but we don't play as much north-south early in the game as we need to. We turn the puck over far too many times in critical areas at this point. Yet when the game's on the line, the last 10 minutes of the game, we're doing all the right things with the puck. So let's bring that mentality into our play earlier, and we'll be fine.
What's a 6-1 preseason worth for you?
It's over. You know what? It's better than a 1-6 preseason. Much better than a 1-6 preseason. I watched Paul Maurice the other day. Winnipeg played their last game, and the emotional level of your team never gets to where it needs to be in exhibition season. He was talking about that. I think we'll see a rise in emotion in games now as we go forward, especially the regular season games, and we'll be tested in that area. I think we can take ours up. I know the other teams will, and we'll have to play a better game to maintain a winning record.
The things that you wanted to happen in the preseason, we talked about Cam Talbot coming in, your right side coming in, a few other elements. If you could sort of take stock on the camp and check.
Starting goal, Cam looks tremendous. I'm sure he feels good, at least that's the word that I'm getting. So there's a check mark there. Mikko has come in and began to evolve with our team and feel his way into the North American game again. He's probably not exactly where he needs to be yet, but there's still time, and we'll work with him. On the back end, we've had a couple young players push, Bear and Bouchard, and they've done a fairly good job. We've had a couple a tryout guy that's pushed and a contract guy that's pushed. We have to make some decisions there. Up front, we've got the right wing position was challenged, and they accepted that challenge. They've been able to find ways to produce. We've got a lot of work on our penalty kill, which is, I think it did a good job, but it's way too much work. So in other words, we're taking far too many penalties. The power play has looked iffy and looked great, so we've got some work to do there. It's so early.
Todd, piggybacking on the Cam Talbot comment, how much confidence does he instill in his teammates and the coaching staff when maybe the team is off to a slower start and 33 is between the pipes?
I think you answered your own question, a lot of it. Goaltending can do that, and Cam has been very, very sharp, very calm, yet aggressive. Guys appreciate that on the bench when we weren't ready to go and we didn't play real well in the first. The only thing that got through it was our goaltending, and then we were able to wade our way into the game. So he's been outstanding throughout camp.
Does it feel much? Does it feel much different this year?
Now you're asking me my feel. Well, yes and no. I think there's more of a focus for our group. Tonight, it got away on us a little bit. I think we got some other things on our mind, and everybody wants to get through those games healthy. We weren't prepared to engage or manage the game real well early, and they were. But practices have been attentive and crisp. Players are trying to do the right things. I think we're managing situations somewhat better. Most of us. There's still a few that have to improve. The goaltending feels better. The special teams are a work in progress. There's some new concepts and new ideas and thoughts that are still being absorbed. And I think once you get to play those situations rather than think them, you become better in both scenarios. So it does feel different.
Todd, could you talk a little bit about Kyler Yamamoto? You mentioned that right side. He was one of those question marks. There he is in the blue paint again today, getting a goal.
Yeah, and that's where he goes. That's what he does. And interestingly enough, we flipped some wingers around today, him and Pontus, halfway through the game. And when Yamo went with a different unit, he was more effective. I think he's got great vision, great skills. He's got a nose for the net. He's hungry in and around those areas, but he's also a polite young man that wants to get some other players the puck a little too often. When he went with JJ and Drake, he didn't have that in his game. He played a direct game, straightforward, and became more effective. So often with young players, it's intimidating sometimes to play with what are considered star players, and you always try and get them the puck. You feel like you owe them the puck. He's good enough to play with everybody. He's just got to not defer all the time.
Much has been made about your top line in the preseason. Obviously, Ratty not playing tonight, but how important is it to get a second line going? There was a question about Draisaitl earlier. How important is it for him to get off to a good start and prove that he can drive a second line?
Well, Leon can drive a line. I don't think there's any doubt about that. We saw that in the playoffs 2 years ago. We've seen it other times. We need our team to get off to a good start. They will play a big role in it. But if there's a group, whether it's a set of D-men, whether it's forwards, fourth line, that's having an off night, somebody else has to pick them up. And it'll all be team-orientated. Everybody gets a fresh slate now. We have to do things right. We have to do them harder and longer than the opposition, and we should be rewarded, and that includes Leon's line. Okay, bye-bye.